think we're starting with the dogs. They're very comfortable tonight. All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Talk podcast with Maggie and Lucy. Hi, I am Maggie. Maggie, the substitute teacher. You may know me for my cooking channel. I make food and femininity content. And with Lucy here, we are the proud founders of the Finishing School for the Modern Woman. Enrollment is open now, as well as we have a class starting this weekend. If relationships are important to you all. So we believe in the older women teaching the young. And then what we do twice a week is we come on here with you all and we give you our perspective as two older women reacting to relationship content in the modern world. So Lucy, please introduce yourself and let us know, what are we reacting to tonight?
Hi, Maggie. Hi, everyone. Okay, so in the background, you're going to hear some snoring. It's my two babies. I have my female on the left, my male on the right. And anytime that we start our discussions, it's kind of like for them, it's I don't know, it's like a lullaby to them. Anyway, yes, I'm Lucy, and I have a small channel that has content about femininity, elegance, and things that affect women over a certain age. But tonight's topic is going to be one very special because it goes back to relationships and us women learning our husbands or significant others or possible significant others' behavior and what they like, what they don't like. And this is a great topic. And, you know, he's a psychologist, Dr. Orion Taraban from Psych Hacks. And yeah, I couldn't say the name. And I do recommend you, if you ever have time, to go into his channel and look at the variety of relationship topics that he offers. He's amazing.
Yes, he is amazing. Thank you so much. We just received a Cash App already coming in from James, and he says, I can't tune in, but blessings to you. So thank you so much for the $5 Cash App. Very, very generous. So like Lucy said, we are going to be reacting yet again to Dr. Orion Taraban. Yes, say Psych Hacks 3 times fast. I dare you. He has a channel. He's also an author. Lucy and I have both read his audiobook or listened to it, as well as he is an actual psychologist. We are not. So we are just reacting from our own lived experience, but he has a wealth of knowledge about relationships. And this video, you all, is actually for the men. So ladies, we have the opportunity to kind of listen in and see what he tells the men. And the topic is Test Her: How to Screen Women. So ladies, if you want the cheat code, if you want to know some of the tests that you're going to be put through in relationships, maybe this will be helpful for you. So a couple disclaimers, and then we're going to get right into it. Lucy and I come from traditional backgrounds, so that is what we promote over here. We believe in marriage and family. So for any of the women that are left that want the same, maybe you can learn something from what we've done right, as well as what we've done wrong. If you want to do something otherwise, that's fine. Just do it over there, because over here, you probably won't be happy. Also, I have linked the video in the description. If you want to watch it uninterrupted, we will play it and then we will pause it and interject with our commentary. It's about a 15-minute video. All right, everybody, let's see who we have in the house here, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. We got Sherry in the house, Jurgen from across the pond. We got Beak watching. Next level says salute. Welcome to the Holy House of Femininity. You all are so funny. I'm so glad that you all like it here. So let us go ahead and begin. I am going to share my screen and mute myself, and we will listen to what Psych Hacks has to say. Oh, how about I actually share my screen with the sound? All right, and let us begin.
Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is Test Her. My dudes, it is absolutely essential that you test women before you enter into sexual relationships with them. Women have figured this out a long time ago. Women test men all the time. Unfortunately, due to their poor optionality, the average guy doesn't think to test a woman who shows interest in him. He's just happy to be there. Unfortunately, this attitude significantly increases the likelihood that he will get involved with a dangerous, difficult, or disordered woman on a long enough time frame. And I'm here today to teach guys on how to go about avoiding that. To be honest, I'll probably have to do several episodes on the subject, but hey, you got to start somewhere. Now, there are many different kinds of women you're going to want to avoid getting involved with. And one of these kinds I call a bomb.
All right, I just want to go in here before he gets into the details. I find it fascinating. We don't really have an ear into what the men tell other men unless you watch men's content. But a couple of things stood out to me, and then we're going to get into the bomb that he was talking about. But did you all hear him when he said that most men don't think to test women because they're just happy to be there? And I don't think we women really realize this coming in with the $10. Thank you much, Suave D. We appreciate you so much, always so generous. But ladies, if we're being very honest with ourselves, there is a type of man that most of us want. Argue me down if you want to. But if you look at men overall, the swath of men, most of them are not the ones that we would select at first choice, okay? So that being said, there's a small group of men that have a lot of options. And then there are men who are just as valuable, but they are not, let's say, first choice for whatever your reasons are. And so he's giving a caution to the men that don't be so excited that somebody finally said yes, and you don't put her through the same tests that the man who does have all of the options will put us through in the beginning. So whether you're used to dating the man that has a lot of options or the man that doesn't, for me, what stood out is that we have to realize that most men are used to being told, no, I'm not interested. Thanks. You're not my type. Or whatever type of, kind let down or embarrassing put down that you would reject his advances. So I just always want us to be mindful of that as a boy mom. And just as a woman in general, I don't think we realize how much rejection most men go through on a daily basis. So just keeping that in mind, especially the men, and I don't like to use labels, but especially the men that sometimes do more than they should for women who haven't earned it, they end up getting taken advantage of. So I'm glad for the men. Hopefully this is going to come to an end. Lucy, would you add anything to that?
No, I like the part that you said about men understand the power of, or they understand rejection from when they're very young, and they are raised, they move, they grow up understanding it. Whereas we women, when we get rejected, we throw a fit and we don't understand the word no. So again, there's a huge difference between how we see the world and how the world reacts to us.
Yes, absolutely. And Next Level has another type of test for you all to consider, but let us go on.
What do bombs do? They explode, sometimes at the slightest touch. Bombs are women who are going to explode at you the first time you don't do something right or the first time you do something wrong. And I'm putting those words in quotes because their notion of right and wrong is almost never connected to some kind of extrapolated morality and is almost always based on their own subjective interests and goals. That is, right is what she wants and wrong is what she doesn't. Those who give her what she wants are good. Those who don't are bad or unhealthy or toxic or sexist and so on.
Y'all, I really love this, and I am so glad Psych Hacks is going right to the core of this entitlement that we have as women. Now, Lucy and I both were married in our 20s, so we didn't date for years and years and decades the way a lot of women have. But ladies, I'm going to tell you, you think you're winning by having all this collection of dates. I don't think that's helpful at all. But if you're used to getting what you want because you want it, and then when somebody finally tells you no, like Lucy said, you explode. Um, you don't have the type of temperament that's going to last over the long term in a relationship, because relationships are sacrifice, relationships are compromise. They're absolutely beautiful and worth it. But did you hear what he said about be careful of those women who talk about people who were toxic? He was a narcissist. You hear that one a lot. Oh, he had, mommy issues or whatever labels. I always find it fascinating when women have a pattern of men that always were the bad guy, but you were the common denominator. So I think that's very insightful. Relationships, it takes two, and we're just as at fault as the other person if it doesn't work out. But these are the type of women that if it goes the way that I want to, that's a good man. He understands me. Oh, he loves me. He does all the things. He's perfect. But as soon as she doesn't get her way, he's the problem. I find it fascinating. What would you add, Lucy?
Yeah, and that is the first clue that lets the man know that she's unable to take responsibility for her actions. It's that a lack of accountability. So again, if you hear somebody, even friends or family members or whatever, who are always blaming the external environment for their own actions, that's a really good indication that that person is not mature enough to say, wait a minute, maybe I'm the problem.
Let's see what you all are saying in the chat, and then we're going to go back in. Suave D says, he's right. My previous mindset was very beta. I was just happy that a woman gave me the time of day. Wow, and that's fascinating to me, ladies. I think it's really crushing sometimes the way we don't realize that men are full humans. Kevin Samuels used to say that they deserve the full human experience. They have hurts and disappointments and joys and fears, and sometimes we just look at them like a workhorse connected to an ATM. It's just, I get really hot about that one. But he says, that is totally contrary to a masculine mentality. And yes, ladies, a lot of the men that are very ruthless, if you will, they didn't start out that way. Something happened, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but usually there's a story behind that treatment where they said, this will never happen again. So it just depends on what side of life you meet them on and how you play into that or not. Suave D says, I didn't take time to make sure that she qualifies to be with me. So yes, ladies, those of y'all that have been used to, running game and finding a lick, as the young ones say, and, getting all your needs met and, whatever, taking advantage of his resources, karma is swinging back your way, and it is not going to be pretty. Next level says sign language, shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. I think that is a great test because we all have a past, right? Once you get to adulthood, you have life experiences. And I think it's really interesting for both of us to listen to how the other person that you are dating or being vetted by or vetted talks about the mistakes that they've made. Do they take accountability, or is it always someone else's fault? Have they matured to the point where they can say, you know what, this was my part in it too? Or is it just like, I'm just unlucky in love? I've heard that one too. Really? So love is just supposed to fall from the sky and land in your lap and be perfect. There's no work in the relationship. Interesting. 1D says, before you commit, pretend to leave your wallet at home and watch her reaction. Make sure it's a reasonably priced meal. Uh-oh. So if we have any men in the chat that want to share some of the tests that you've done, or ladies, some of the tests that you've been on the receiving end, we can bring those up. All right. Let us continue. Yeah, every once in a while, I know a little bit, but not much. Let's go back in.
When you touch a bomb the wrong way, and boy, are some of these bombs touchy, they're going to explode. and they're going to explode with all the force of being convicted in their own self-righteousness. She might yell or pout or call you names or throw things or threaten the continued basis of the relationship. These are all forms of immaturity and emotional dysregulation at best, and may be signs of more significant personality dysfunction at worst. It should go without saying, but here it is. This is a type of woman that you absolutely do not want to have a relationship with. Why? Because only one of two outcomes is inevitable here. Either she's going to keep exploding, and you're either going to spend a significant portion of your relationship fighting or conducting damage control, or you're going to end up tiptoeing around her trigger points and walking on eggshells. In either case, your life is going to be stressful and unnecessarily complicated. Much better to just not get involved in the first place.
Oh my goodness, so many good ones here. Now, my natural personality is not combative at all, but there are some women, and ladies, if you're listening and this is you, and you go from 0 to 10 like that, you get fire hot. Everything is an offense to you. And like he said, what did he say? Shouting, throwing things. Some of y'all get physical. I cannot even imagine it. But if that is how you deal with conflict, we laugh at one time in a row, like my man says, but there is nothing that any man can or will or should do to help you be able to emotionally regulate. And I am not a doctor, but I would say that is not normal. If you can't handle the ups and downs of life, if you can't handle the ups and downs of relationship without going nuclear, this is a problem. And, again, I don't feel like I have a place to talk to men, but I would just tell the boys, and I have told the boys, she does any of that kind of behavior one time, leave her right where she is. It does not matter how attractive she is. It does not matter how fun she is. None of that matters. To come home to that type of chaos, to where, like he said, a man who has already built himself is going to have to tiptoe around your emotional fuse, not happening. So, ladies, if you have found yourself being either slow ghosted or quickly ghosted because you had an outburst that was unacceptable, you have to ask yourself, man, could that be the reason why nobody wants to put up with me in the long term? So just be mindful of that, because I'll just say it, the men that you want, they're not tolerating it. You got one time to act out of pocket and it's just a wrap. They will find somebody else quickly and you will be replaced. What would you add, Lucy?
Okay, sorry about this. My dogs are acting out. They're underneath the table, and one is calling out the other. I am so sorry, guys. So can you move on to the
We'll
next
come back
episode?
to you. Yes.
Yes, please.
Let me see what y'all are saying in the chat, and then we're going to go back in while Lucy tends to the dogs. Jurgen says silence is golden, and it's true. I mean, ladies, you have no idea how much silence is valuable. I had a conversation with my man today, and I had to go into the office. My boss was retiring, and so they had like a going away party. I work remote, and I'll be honest with you, just the stress of like going in, shaking hands, kissing babies, the after parties, all that stuff. And I come home and I was just kind of like frazzled from everything. And he said, do you understand why I like you better working from home? That was his idea. And I was like, you know what? You were right. And it was just a moment where he said, I treat you this way because I like you better this way. All that chaos that we bring into their lives, from our family, from our work, from the stress that we cause ourselves and try to dump it on them, they don't want that. They want a peaceful, non-combative, non-stressed out, unproblematic woman. So if you can't be that, just be happy being with yourself and have all of that chaos around you, because you're not going to bring it to the man of your dreams. Anything to add, Lucy?
And that goes back to us women having that capacity to be empathetic to our significant other. understanding that they're out there dealing with all that stress and coming home to a combative and just more stressful life, that's really unfair to them, especially if you're in a long-standing relationship, or if you are starting a new relationship with someone, with a man that has all the characteristics and the good character, and you're going to be as combative to make his life impossible. And I got to tell you, men give you grace. I can tell you, my husband, I love him. Good God, amazing man. When we were younger, when we were first meeting, I had a little bit of a spitfire temper. And, yeah, Lucy. And, as time went by, I started learning that, yeah, you know what? This is not fair to him. It takes time for him to realize, that those little things that would get me upset, in the long run, they mean nothing. The relationship should be the priority, and his peace should be the main deal in the relationship.
So true, ladies. You have no idea what your peaceful presence does to the man that you want. Believe me. All right, let's go back in, and then I see you all are chatting it up. We'll come back to the chat.
Now, the good news is that this type of woman is actually very easy to avoid. Indeed, in the majority of cases, you can identify them before you even meet them, which will save you a good deal of time, energy, and money. So, how do you do that? Well, what does the bomb squad do when they encounter a suspicious package? They take it to a safe location and they perform a controlled detonation. They set it off. This renders the bomb, if it is a bomb, safe and harmless. And if it isn't a bomb, they can move forward with their business. But better safe than sorry, right? To understand why this works, let's briefly consider the professional equivalent. Given that the same economic principles govern behavior in the dating market and in the job market, they're actually eerily similar to one another. As I've said before, dating is really an extended hiring process, and men are the employers because they're in a position to extend a relationship opportunity to a woman. And in the context of a job market, one of the functions of an interview is to weed out problematic or difficult characters as early in the process as possible.
Y'all, I like this. I mean, Psych Hacks, we've talked about this before. He's such an academic, but ladies, I wanted to make sure that you heard that. If you have read or if you have listened to his audiobook, the way that he teaches is he takes a business concept and explains that first, since we all love these big jobs and big degrees that we have. And then he correlates that business concept to a relationship context so that you can connect the dots. So he is comparing being selected for relationship like a job interview. And ladies, this is why I say we are not equal. We are equally valued, but we are very different. When it comes to relationships, for a man to claim you as his own, it has to be the man's decision. They offer, we can either accept with grace or exit with grace. Just like men know if they want access to our bodies, they have to do all the things on the checklist that we require, and we have right of refusal. So I see sometimes women in the comments are asking, well, why can't it go both ways? Well, why does it have to be just me? Well, what about him? Then don't be in a relationship. All right. Be by yourself. That's fine. Nobody cares. But if you want a relationship with a masculine man, it requires a feminine woman. So yes, ladies, the courting and the dating is not just for you to get dressed up and go eat somewhere nice. He is vetting you. He is testing you, and you need to be doing the same. So you need to be paying attention. And I love what he said, the controlled detonation. Ladies, these tests are coming. And if you think this is going to be a one-time pass, you are wrong. I was talking to my man earlier today, and he was telling me, he was like, yeah, babe, you got a whole bunch of classes in your head. I'm like, really? We have basic, we have intermediate, we have advanced. What's left? He's like, oh, okay. All these, he calls them little girls, young women. All these little girls want the ring and the party. Fine, you're married. Now it's the holidays. You're hosting. His family's coming over. Do you know what to do? And I was like, wow. He's like, yeah, that's a class. So there's so much that's going to be a test in your relationship, from the beginning all the way to the end. And one of the men, our biggest sponsors, has said, whenever he's asked for something, the answer is always no. And it's a no as a test to see how you're going to respond. It could be a no full stop. It could be a not yet. It could be a no because I have something better in mind, but he's always going to respond with no to see if you are that bomb who's going to blow up when you don't get your way. So consider that, ladies. You never know the intention behind why your man does certain things. What would you add, Lucy?
It's so funny that now that I think about it, he was doing a lot of controlled detonations when he first met me. Because remember I said I was a little spitfire? He would try to touch those buttons to see what would, and to the point where he could probably take that behavior or not. So I think that they do. I mean, he did. Wow. I just realized he did test me. And obviously, almost 20 years after I passed it, but they do. And again, and don't take it personally, ladies. It's something that because they've worked so hard to get to the point they are going to, see whether you have the temperament or the character to be able to carry on his legacy, have his babies, build, keep the home together, help him with all those little details. So again, that is something that it comes natural to them, especially if they're thinking about that one special lady that might be in their lives forever.
All right, let's see what you all are saying in the chat, and then we're going to go back into the video. So Jurgen is telling us, ladies, zip it. Consider carefully, ladies. Just because you think it doesn't mean it needs to come out all the time, all right? Your words mean more when there are less of them. Take it from your favorite talker. Rodney says, emotional volatility is a sign of immaturity. That is very true. Think of your favorite toddler throwing a temper tantrum. We have all seen it in the malls or the shopping centers. And then we have all had that same reaction when you see a kid big as you, trying to pout and get mad and stomp around. There's a certain time when you age out of that behavior. And PsycHack said it too. It's immature at best. At worst, it could be a sign of something really wrong up here. So ladies, if you fly off the handle, you do not need to be in the dating market. You're not ready. Do we have something already? Lucy, that's going to be our sign, because y'all know I try to include everybody in the chat. Who do we have here? Y'all know him. You already know him. Mufasa Thane is here. Go ahead. You know what to do in the chat. When Lucy puts her hands on her chest, I need to pay attention because that means something has happened. I was just talking him up and he says, there are always tests. So there it is. Thane himself told me he always starts with a no to test us. All right, let's go back in. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Thane. There are no words. We are just forever grateful. You're always watching us. Ladies, what did we tell you? They're always watching. All right. So let's see what y'all are saying, and then we're going to go back in. Neo Moses says a lot of ladies are looking for a sucker, pretty much. Hope everybody is well. And, it's one of these things, and that's unfortunate to me. I have such a heart for men, a lot of men in my family. But ladies, you may win one time. You may win 2 times. I just think about my man, the way he says, he's like, all right, go ahead and play in traffic. Keep it up. You may not get hit today, or you may not get hit tomorrow, but it's just not a good long-term strategy. And what I have found, like the women that I coach, that maybe their beauty got them gifts and trips and trinkets that they didn't earn. Maybe, their physique or their physicality got them something that they did not deserve, if you will. They have this almost panic because they're always like looking over their shoulder because they know what they have is not real. There's not a calmness to them. And ladies, when you are in a real relationship, it grounds you. Today I was ripping and running, fighting traffic, going to this thing, and my man just called me. He was like, aren't you so much happier that you're at home? And literally, I felt myself calm down. So, you know, I think karma comes back for all of us. So, ladies, just if relationship is what you want, work on the relationship skills, delay your gratification. It will come, believe me. We can't believe Lucy was a spitfire. Ay, caliente. Sorry, I had to. All right, let's see what else everybody's saying. Y'all are just greeting each other. Yes, we love Lucy's dogs. They're part of the show. Rodney says the vetting process takes time and insight. That word right there, time. That's the other thing that I see with a lot of modern women. You want it on your timeline. You want it when you get tired. You're ready. So now that man is supposed to hurry up and do it when you want. That's not how it works, ladies. If you want a real relationship, you are on his clock. You are on his timeline. You are on his vetting process, because we want their name, their banner, their covering, their protection, their provision, their network. We want access to all of that. And so they should vet us before they just hand over the keys to the kingdom. All right. Oh my goodness. Lucy, someone has a question about your hair color. Ankylos is saying it's already painful. We haven't even gotten started. All right, so we'll stop here and then go back in. Did you have anything else, Lucy?
One way to do that is to question the applicant with respect to their willingness to perform certain tasks, especially those that the applicant might not be keen on performing, but are nevertheless associated with that position. For example, this job might require you to work on Saturdays. Is that going to be an issue? Assuming that most people would, in fact, prefer not to work on Saturdays, this request is a bit of an imposition. And that's why it's a useful indication of the applicant's interest in the role, irrespective of whether working Saturdays is actually necessary. Like, it's still useful to ask the question and gauge the response, because if it's not working Saturdays per se, it will be working late or redoing a project or taking on an unpreferred role or some other impositions. You get me? The response will not only provide useful indirect information on the applicant's interest, but also on the applicant's character. Think about it. If an applicant really wanted the job, how would she respond? Absolutely. That's not a problem. You can count on me. Or if she really wanted the job and were somewhat clever, how would she answer? You know, that's not something I would ordinarily do, but since I really care about this company and its mission, I'm willing to make an exception here. That's a very smart response, because it's going to make that interviewer feel special about something she was apparently willing to do anyway. So it's a simple way of conjuring additional value out of nothing. Clever. In any case, both of those responses indicate a high level of interest. Now, if the applicant is only somewhat interested in the role, she's going to negotiate. This is a sign that she believes that she is on equal footing with the prospective employer, because negotiation is really something that only occurs between perceived equals. The response might be something like, I can work Saturdays if you pay me double. Now, this might not fly with the prospective employer. However, she's apparently willing to rock the boat and risk losing the opportunity because either A, it has consequently become less attractive to her, and or B, she has other more attractive options that she is more interested in. In any case, this does not indicate a high level of interest. Lastly, consider the applicant who chooses to become offended at the suggestion. What? How dare you ask me to work Saturdays? That wasn't in the job description. Do I need to report you to the Better Business Bureau? Who do you think you are? Etc., etc. This person is a bomb, and you've just performed a controlled detonation. Congratulations. And it's not because she didn't want to work weekends. Think about it. What stopped this applicant from saying, unfortunately, I wouldn't be willing to do that? Nothing. Like, there's absolutely no reason to explode on the prospective employer. And the fact that she did indicates A, a low interest in the position, and or B, a perceived superiority relative to the prospective employer. For better or worse, people don't talk up power hierarchies in that way, but they might talk down them in such a fashion. Such people believe that they're doing the employer a favor by interviewing there. Of course, if they had anywhere better to interview, we'd have to assume they'd be there instead. So this is an arrogant and entitled response. Now, no one has to work Saturdays, right? Some people really value having their weekends free. However, that value comes at a cost. That's why we call them values. They're valuable, they're costly. And one of the costs associated with having such a value might be losing out on certain opportunities. Like, why wouldn't the employer offer the job to the applicant who is just as qualified and is willing to work on Saturdays, right? So anyone who implements such a boundary is functionally communicating that the potential risk of losing this opportunity is less than the potential harm that working a Saturday would cause. So far, so good?
All right, y'all, let's unpack this one. Psych hacks, again, he's such an academic, so I try to really listen and understand. But a couple of things stood out to me on that. Fascinating how he uses the business world, because we can all relate to that. This actually happened to me. I work in tech and, IT tech, not medical tech. And those of you all who work in tech, a lot of computer stuff is done after hours. So we don't take down the system that everybody's using. So it could mean night times or it could mean weekends doing testing. And I remember having an interview and I was like all the way down to the end, like third or fourth interview. And one of the VPs said, this job may require weekends. And, in my head, I'm like, I'm a mom, I've got just like, I like my time or whatever. So I just kind of got quiet and I was like, that's not a problem. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, I'll figure it out between me, dad, grandparents, that's what your support system is for. And I'll be honest with you, in a year's time, I have not had to work any Saturdays yet. It may happen, but the way it was presented is this is kind of like a monthly thing. And in 12 months, I have worked 0 Saturdays. Here's the point, ladies. My dad always used to say something growing up to me and my brother. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that goes a long way, especially for modern women or sometimes young women who, like he said, feel entitled or feel like you are superior. Youth is fleeting and you're only going to have the power position for a certain window, ladies. So I encourage you to prioritize relationships in your youth. But did you hear what he said about this example? There is no wrong answer. You can say, yes, I will work Saturdays, or you could say, no, I'm sorry, I'm unable to work Saturdays. I've got the kids and whatever, so that's not going to work for me. But if you go off like a bomb, that is what the test is for, ladies. And I realize now, like Lucy said, my man was testing me in the beginning of our, relationship. I grew up with him, went separate ways, came back together. And I remember when we reconnected, he would ask me these weird questions. And unfortunately now, I remember myself kind of getting annoyed. Because ladies, we think in the beginning of a relationship, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fireworks. It's supposed to be like falling in love. But when a man is vetting you seriously, he leads with the tough stuff because he knows the fun will come later. So I remember him asking me something about if something ever happened to him, like would I push him in a wheelchair? Would I take care of, kind of be like a nurse to him? And we're young and healthy. And I'm like, why would he ask me that? And I remember kind of like, well, I mean, yeah, if I had to. And then asking me different like financial things, like, if I were, down and, needed help with the car, would you take care of that? I'm thinking like, you do better than I. Okay, fine. It was all a test. None of those things have happened. But ladies, I would love for you to ask yourself, and you can share in the chat if you want to or not, what have been some situations that you now in hindsight realize that was a test the whole time, and maybe you passed it or maybe you failed miserably? What would you add, Lucy?
And the different examples that he gave about how the women responded or the interviewee responded, whether it was, okay, I'll be willing to do it. I usually don't do it, but in your case, I will do it. So it gives you, you make that other person special. And with the last one where she got all offended and she raised, all of these things, that's where you say, you know what, that woman is a liability in business and in relationships, because if she's willing to go just beyond and be offended over something that should require just an answer, yes or no, that tells you that she's going to take it 100 times worse, make it 100 times worse if you decide to either hire her or get into that relationship with her.
Yes, absolutely. So, ladies, you can pretend like you don't know, but you know your temperament. You know if you have had a reaction to something that maybe was a simple question or a simple request and you flew off the handle. If that's you, that could be the reason why you are where you are. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat, and then we're going to go back in. Jürgen says, an aggressive, another one?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't. Hold up. I don't see it. He's at it again. Okay, you all know him. Drop his name in the chat again. Thane says the tests never end until you are a matriarch. And I just want to take a moment. We're going to come back to the comments, but ladies, this is something that I'm realizing now in my older age. I'll be 50 next year, but that is my goal. I do want to be a matriarch. I see how my mom conducts herself. I see how she is respected in the community. That is the example. When we're young and we're, just like la, la, la through life or our big jobs or whatever we think is important, but having a family, having a legacy. I asked the ladies that I coached this last week, what do you want to be remembered for when you are gone? And one of them was actually like, nothing. I don't really want a legacy. Don't know how to respond to that, but I do. And there's several things that I want to be remembered for, and being a woman that has earned the love and respect of her husband, plus, her children, his family, extended family, the community. That is important to me. Maybe I'll speak for myself. And so every day I work on getting better. So thank you, thank you, thank you, for the $100 again. Rodney says the lion roars. Yes, shout out to Nana. She's amazing. All right, let's go back in where we were and see what y'all are saying in the chat. All right, so Jürgen says, an aggressive feminist usually identifies herself very quickly. Chameleon reptiles are problematic. Ooh, y'all have had some bad experiences. So yes, ladies, maybe you get moved to the front of the line quickly, and then you show your true colors, and then you get removed just as quickly. Rodney says all tests receive a grade. Testing in relationships is important for both parties. Absolutely. And ladies, this is why our family, our men, our brothers, our uncles, our fathers, your trusted circle of men are important, because if you just get the googly eyes and he's just so attractive, or he's so fine, or he's so handsome, and you can't see the forest for the trees, you need somebody to say, hey, sit down. Let me talk to you. This is what I see. It is so important. Neo Moses says, sadly, I saw an Indian woman answer my question about femininity classes if she had taken any, and she says, I don't know, at 35. The response is irritating but clear. Yes, I am at a point now where I realize I cannot help everyone. You all cannot help everyone. We put this out there and people will choose to listen or not, choose to get better or not. I am okay with either answer. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, there are those that are going to be willing to improve their lives with those self-development classes, and, making sure that they apply the learning. And there are those that no matter what you tell them, they will do whatever they want to do. They can attend 100 self-development classes, but if they're not willing to apply the information and see that it actually works and test it, they're going to stay the same way as when they started. So again, there's two. There's either those warriors and there's the victims. Which side are you on?
Warrior or victim. I love it. All right. So I see you all have some more comments. Let's go back in and listen to Psych Hacks, and I'll come back to what you all are saying in the chat.
If you're interested in taking your understanding to the next level, I would encourage you to check out the Captain's Quarters, my members-only self-improvement community. Your monthly membership will get you access to a cadre of like-minded, supportive individuals, bi-monthly group consultation sessions hosted by yours truly, and exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. Click the link in the description for more information. Hope to see you aboard. Now, let's shift back to testing women in the context of dating. There are many different ways for men to perform controlled detonations on prospective lovers. And ideally, these tests are conducted before the date even occurs, saving both sides a lot of time and energy. One easy way to do this is to ask a woman to send you pics prior to a date. I understand this is going to be a contentious suggestion for some folks, but I think it's a good idea for a number of reasons. Let's explore this further. First and foremost, requesting pics from a woman is kind of a way of making sure that you're both more or less on the same page with respect to the nature of this potential relationship. Like, this isn't going to be a friendly chat or some kind of interview. It's a date with all of its attendant sexual associations and possibilities. This will not only help prevent men from entering into ambiguous interactions with women, but it will give men important information about the woman's level of attraction and aspects of her character as well. And it's very important for men to gauge both of these components as early in the courtship as possible. It should go without saying, but you only really want to go out with women who A, express a very high level of attraction for you, and B, have non-reactive, non-explosive characters. The risks and costs associated with not doing this are just too high for men in today's day and age. So let's run through the various possibilities. If a woman is very attracted to you and is interested in a sexual relationship, how is she going to respond? You guessed it, by sending you some pics. Maybe with a little note attached. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see, kissy face, kissy face. And if she's very interested and somewhat clever, how would she answer? You know, I don't usually do this kind of thing, but you seem like such a nice guy, and I feel like I can trust you. Smart. Now, not only did she do it, but she did it in a way that made that guy feel special, effectively conjuring additional value out of something she was apparently willing to do anyway. Well done. In any case, you can now be fairly confident that the woman in question has a high level of interest in a sexual relationship, and you can feel safer about moving forward. On the other hand, a bomb is absolutely going to explode at such a request. What? How dare you talk to me like that? How disgusting and disrespectful. I can't believe you would ask for something like this. What kind of a man are you? Is that all that you're interested in? Etc., etc., etc. Congratulations. You've just detonated a bomb at a safe distance. Her response communicated in no uncertain terms that she had little interest in a sexual relationship with you. Even though she presumably had no problem with you taking her out and giving her your time, energy, and money. Furthermore, she demonstrated that she apparently feels justified in punishing men who violate her expectations with respect to how the courtship and presumably the relationship should proceed. Remember, punishment only flows from the high to the low. So this is a woman who probably thought she was doing you a favor by allowing you to take her out. In any event, she is likely searching for a man to fit into her frame and to provide her a relationship on her terms. Dating her would be a slow castration. Now, when you successfully detonate a bomb, it's important not to argue with her. Don't try to defend yourself or pressure her into compliance or clap back in a critical spirit. Remember, she did you a favor. You should be grateful. She showed you who she was before you had to spend $1. If only it were always this easy. Just say something like, completely understandable, thank you for your time, and move on to the next applicant. This is just one way that men can test women. There are plenty of others, but in the interest of time, we're going to have to wrap it up here. Just remember, it's not really about the pick. There are even ways for women to demonstrate a high level of attraction and good character while acting demure. The point is to collect reliable data on these metrics before you engage, so that you can make better decisions on how to spend your necessarily limited resources. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message. I know you know somebody.
My goodness. All right, y'all. So let's unpack this one. Let me just say this. If you have read Psych Hack's book, and this may be common knowledge to a lot of people, but ladies, dating, especially casual dating, is about sex. If you think the man really wants to try this restaurant, really wants to see you dressed up, really wants to hear about your day, your past, your friends, whatever, they do not. They just want to get to the good stuff, and this is the price they have to pay to get there. This is why I tell the ladies that I coach, you have to date with intention from the beginning and be very selective. And that's why we teach in the wife lessons how to determine if a man is husband material or not. And if you have a bad picker, then you need somebody to help you realize those characteristics early, so you don't find yourself in a position where you're just like, oh, I thought this was going somewhere, and the whole time he was saying you knew what it was. All right, so from his perspective, that's why he talks about the sexual relationship. Lucy and I believe in marriage and long-term. We realize not everybody wants that, but from our perspective, we encourage you to date with the intention of marriage or long-term. All right, and act accordingly. So a couple of things that stood out to me in that last one. So when he talks about pics, again, like he said, it's not about the pictures. It's not about working on Saturdays. It's about how you respond to a request, and even a request that is up to the line or maybe even crossing the line for you. Maybe working on Saturdays is unacceptable for you. Maybe sending pictures is unacceptable for you. There's a way to say that, oh, I understand, but I understand maybe that's what girls do now, but that's not something that, I'm comfortable doing. But I look forward to seeing you on Saturday for ice cream. I'm making it up, but you can have that kind of response, or you could completely go off, and you all have seen it, the way that ladies try to like shout a man down or shame him or whatever for doing something. So really consider how you respond. And did you hear what he said about punishment only goes from the high to the low? So when you see women mistreating men, this is a woman who thinks that she is better than, who thinks that she has other options, who thinks that you're, as the man, lucky to be even in her presence. And ladies, you may have that leverage. I promise you, Father Time comes for all of us. And if you do not use your powers for good instead of evil and find the best match for you and get out of the dating market, you will become 30 and 35 and 40 and 45 still thinking you've got that leverage. You do not, because you will find yourself getting overlooked time and time and time again. So that's what stood out to me on that one. What would you add, Lucy?
And when it comes to that picture, that photo or picture request, I was thinking, if a man asked you to send a picture, is he also looking at the kind of picture that you're sending? Are you going to send him like a quick pic, a selfie, just with a funny face, or are you going to send him a very sensual and provocative picture, and that's where he's going to say, "Oh, that's who she is." So again, but I don't know how men think, but I'm thinking that I would probably think that way by the way that she responds. Yeah, she can send the picture, but what kind of picture is she sending? And of course, then it goes back to, maybe it goes to like the flirting back and forth to see if she's going to send something a little more provocative. But again, it's that dance that you have when you're meeting someone. Are you willing to do the things that he's asking you? Are you willing to play that game? Because again, when you're first meeting, it's a game. It's the game of love. I remember my husband, he used to leave me these voice messages, his voice amazing. And then after I heard the message, I would go down to his car and I would leave a business card with a kiss on it on the window. That's all it took. And it's that, give and take, that flirty thing that you have to have, that unfortunately now in this, I don't know, modern world, I don't think too many people know how to be flirty without being just over the top.
Such a good point, Lucy. And that shows the flaw in my thought, because I'm thinking that's what people are sending. But I agree with you. If someone asks for a pic, I'm going to take a selfie. This is what I look like today. And I do like sending those, to my man. We don't live together. So sometimes he's like, oh, is that a new dress? Is that a new, something? But I agree with you. We were talking about this earlier, and he said, the way that maybe all of us have been raised to just be like part of the workforce, the distinction between a girl becoming a woman and a boy becoming a man, we're all just kind of like this gender neutral robot. So that's why everybody's so socially awkward. And that flirting, that talking, that, I used to get letters and poems, and, I used to pack lunches, or I still pack lunches, but put a little note in there, and all those things that it should come natural. And, shout out to us. We are having a relationship basics class. It starts this Saturday. So this is our last stream, ladies. If you want to enroll, if you don't know how to just be a woman around a man, if you don't know what we mean when we say study your man, anticipate his needs, do you know his likes, his dislikes? Do you know his favorite color? Do you know his shoe size? Do you know anything about him? Or are you just so wrapped up in your own world when you're spending time together, you're not really taking time to observe things that he likes and he dislikes? Class starts this Saturday. Go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com to join the relationship basics. But yeah, my man was saying that he's just like, men don't know how to act around women now. Women don't know how to act around men now. And there is that biology, that chemistry that's just kind of like, you know what, maybe there's something here. That's how we were raised. And I hope it comes back. But you bring up a really good point. That in and of itself could be a test, ladies. If a man just asks for a picture, do you either say no? Do you detonate like a bomb? Or what kind of picture do you send him? Like Thane told y'all, the tests are going to continue until you are either selected or deselected. And so you can ask yourself if you've been passing the tests or. All right, y'all, almost better. Let's see what y'all are saying in the chat, and then we are going to wrap it up. Everybody shouting out Thane. Mufasa Thane coming through. Thank you. Thank you. We need the Thane theme. Only if he gives permission. I was told not to play it every time, and so I'm following the instructions. So if he gives permission, I will. All right, let's see what you all are saying. The lion roars. Yes, shout out to Nana. Absolutely. Gillis says, oh man, I think I'm an angel on this topic then. I rarely get worked up. I was a happy-go-lucky girlfriend, very laid back and agreeable. I was usually in the clouds and happy all the time. That's great. But the problem is the men say, So then what happened? Like, ladies, we don't just get to tell our side of the story and then it just cliffhanger. Men are going to be like, so why didn't you seal the deal? So why are you single now? You don't have to answer, but just know that that is going to be the follow up. All right. Your problem is being serious. Well, serious relationships require serious men and women. All right. Let's see. Anything else? I'm going all the way back. Aaron Laura says, I'm pretty darn agreeable when asked to do something where I do have boundaries, though. I like to think I'm soft in explaining them and not combative in saying no. That is the key. So, ladies, hopefully you got the takeaway from today. Even if it's a request that you don't like, even if it's something that you're like, that's kind of strange, it is a test. All right. Okay, wonderful. All right, let me just scroll down. Gillis is asking what kind of pics. That could be a question too. He asks for a pic. You want a picture of, my hair today? Absolutely. All right. Ooh, the bomb squad. So yes, ladies. And what does this sound like? Let me give you all some terms that you may hear. If mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. I need a real man. I need a man that can handle me. All of these things, you think you're calling forth the masculine in the man that you want. You're actually telling him, I am a whole handful and I am going to be problematic. So, ladies, you're not helping yourself by bragging about how much somebody has to do to have you in their life. The man of our dreams, his life is already hard. He has challenges and struggles that we will never know because they don't tell us everything. So sometimes because we think they're not saying everything, everything must be okay. The opposite is true, ladies. The men that we love, the men that we want, they fight their demons every day, yet and still treat us, tenderly. So don't call out the dragon in him if it's not necessary. Just, you'll just find yourself left alone. All right. All right. I'm just going through. Let's see if there's anything. What kind of girl do you think I am? Oh, dear. Yes, I love this, Rodney. Dating has an expiration date. Ladies, you are not supposed to date for a decade or more. If you know this is not somebody that is husband material, it's time to exit with grace. You are wasting time that you do not have. All right. Yes, that was very romantic, Lucy. I love the love notes. It's so sweet in the voice messages. Barbershop Love Story is sending her LinkedIn photo. Okay, that's a safe one to send. Rodney says, if a woman is going on a hunt for a husband, she needs to study her prey in order to capture him. I think it's the other way around, but I agree in the studying. That is why we're having the class on Saturday and Sherry will be there. Yes. All right. I think we've gone through everything. Suave D says, yeah, they're always wondering what happened. All right. So ladies, just be careful about telling these, wonderful stories that make you look, and this is not for killers. This is for all of us. I'm going to tell you something. My man said this week, don't tell me you got a college degree. And I'm like, here we go. Y'all know me, no Mr. always coming through. But his point is this, after I get done blinking fast and slow, when you start to paint a picture about how great you are, and it could be bragging about yourself, it could be putting down other people that were in your life, that they were the only ones that are the ones that had the problem. Now the microscope comes on you. Okay, you're perfect. Okay, you got a PhD. Okay, you better not ever have like any problems, meaning don't, be behind on any bills. Your car better be in good repair. Like all of the things that, ladies, let's be honest, we struggle with because it doesn't make sense to a man. Or you're bragging that everything you do is great, but all this other stuff over here is still, hanging. It's not going to go over well. So just be very, very careful about that. All right. What Maggie said and what Thane said. Lucy, do you have anything to close us out?
No, I just wish that the younger generation, the ladies especially, understood that being soft and being agreeable is all that that our men want, and understanding that unfortunately they've been brainwashed to thinking that men are evil, and unfortunately for them, that behavior is a mirror. So that's why you're going to attract those men that are those that you think are mean and horrible and whatever. If you have a different heart toward the men and appreciate them, you're going to attract those men with good character. So again, I think that, unfortunately, schools and the TVs and all of these environmental things have allowed young women to grow up with a different perspective about men. And I think it's time for us to bring them back to reality, because we've lived with each other for millions of years together. And unfortunately, the society is dying because we are not coming together as we should.
Such a great point. And this is why I'm focusing on family, like Lucy said, the young wives and mothers that have the time on their side to turn this around. And this is why the older women should teach the young. The older women shouldn't teach each other. We should be flanked by women who are all helping the younger women get this right, because our community, our society, our world depends on it. And if it's just about you grabbing the best husband and then going and living your life, then maybe I cannot help you. But I do think every day as I get older, what kind of world am I going to leave behind? And how can I help make it better? That is important to me. And so that's what we're going to continue to do. So again, ladies, it's a 2-week course. It's taught this Saturday, December 14th, 3 p.m. Eastern. And then part 2 will be Saturday, December 21st at 3 p.m. Eastern. These are going to be private Zoom classes. You have access to the recording, lifetime access. This is our beginner class. We're going to walk you all through in a workshop. So you're going to do the work, but we will coach you. If you do not know, if you don't remember being a little girl on the playground and sharing your bubble gum with that boy that you thought was cute, or sharing your sandwich or giving him a cookie, if you have lost that little, girl inside and you feel really uncomfortable being feminine, you're going to struggle in relationships. So maybe we can help you with that. Our flagship course, our intermediate course, is also open for registration. If you want the finishing school for the modern woman, we will teach that after the new year. That is going to be on Saturdays in January and February. Then we're going to have our big graduation invite only, because now Lucy and I have turned our classes on for on demand. So we have people in different time zones who cannot make the live courses. So yes, you'll be able to take the basic course and the finishing school on your own self-study time, as well as the wife lessons. We'll do it live again in March, but if you don't want to wait, we will, you have access to that now on demand. But our graduation here in Atlanta will be for those who attend the class live, all sessions, and a reunion for our students from last year. We have a very special sponsor who's sending us on a yacht cruise. So very, very excited about that. So I have permission from our stream sponsor to play his song. So we are going to wrap up. I'm glad this was helpful for you all. Oh, we have one more. Oh my goodness. Y'all are so generous tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Suave D. So consistent. We are so grateful, and I appreciate you all. So somebody asked for it. So here you go.
Thane Mithra has spoken.
The emperor, the conqueror, the champion, the lion is here.
All right, everybody. Thank you, Thane, as always, for watching, for protecting, for covering, and for being so incredibly generous. We appreciate you so much. And he will be looking over our curriculum, ladies. So we will see you all. Today is Saturday. So today is not Saturday. Today is Wednesday. We will be back Saturday with another relationship video Lucy has sent. Where are all the good men? So we will see you all Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern for another relationship reaction. And until then, adios.
yeah.